Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Life in the Wick Cactus Chronicles. This is documenting my obsession with cactus. So, what you're looking at right now, this is our property. When we first bought the house, it was just rock and dirt. So, this is the side yard headed into the back, and you can see the retaining wall of the shrubs and the neighbor's house behind. We ended up putting a big retaining wall up so we didn't see their house, moving that retaining wall back, taking the shrubs out. You're going to see all of that in the upcoming video about how we got started on this crazy cactus journey. So this is the backyard, and again, the red lines are where the pool is going to be, but just rock and, dirt, some plants up on the hill, kind of shrub, kind of weird shrub plants, and then the back corner of the lot and around the corner to the driveway, or what will be a driveway along the side of the house. So our very first task was to get some mounds of dirt in along the side. And the reason I wanted those mounds of dirt was I wanted it to look good, but also block the view onto the neighbor's property. So we had these kids come out with their bobcat, and they moved all this big pile of dirt to make a sort of a mountain range along the side of the yard. And then once they finished with that side, they went out front, and you can see the wall is in the back now. So you can't see the neighbor's house anymore, and all the shrubs are gone. And then here's the front of the house where we started, and we're just putting up, again, another sort of mound of rocks. Next thing in the landscape plan was to add some big boulders to those mountains, or at least the mountains in the back. I didn't put any in the front. And that was quite an ordeal, watching these guys kind of sling up these rocks and then drive their little bobcat backhoe thing around the property without hitting anything, which was a little bit unnerving, but they've done it. They've done it quite a bit. It was funny when they came. They came with the truck with this little machine on it and the rocks. Got out of the truck, didn't set the emergency brake in the truck or brakes at all in the truck and the trailer, and everything started going down the hill. They had to scramble, run down the hill, jump in the driver's side, and get the brakes on it. It was a very exciting start. So here they are with their rock, have the rock setting process. And so we put in about a dozen big boulders, and basically that was it, just going back and forth in this slow process of choosing where they were going to go and then swinging them around on this machine. So there's Park supervising with his big hat on, keeping himself cool in the Arizona sun there. So, and that's the final. That is where all those rocks ended up. These are the cacti that are going to go. So that is what started my obsession. When I bought these cactus, I thought that they were cool or whatever, but I wasn't in love with cactus. I wasn't in love with, how they are, how they grow. And boy, that has really changed. So we got those planted, and then it was time to sort of move on. Oh, then we had our first monsoon. So the beauty of the first monsoon was we learned very quickly how our property drained and where it drains. So that was great, because when we were ready to trench to put in our monsoon trench, we knew exactly where it was going to need to go. We did add some rosemary and red yucca to the hill before Park and London hand shoveled literally tons of rock up onto the hillside and spread it so we could cover that dirt. And you can see our big wall back there, and all the rock. There's Petey. He's such a big help for these kind of projects. He just moves from shade to shade. The next thing we did was add the red rock, and it's called Palomino Gold, to kind of give that hill some texture. I put in a couple of other smaller hills on that side. So this is one that's right at the end of the pool. We added this big ocotillo, which is probably Park's favorite cactus. They're really, really amazing. Or ocotillo, if you've never seen one, they're just really cool. They're not actually cactus. They're in the cactus family, I guess. Or actually, I don't think they're even in a cactus family. They're considered cactus because they're spiny, but they're not. Okay, and then this is a little mound at the end of the pool. So kind of like a lower mound, almost like a foothill leading over to the mountains. And then here we go with backhoe man digging out that trench. So everything is sloped down. into the yard and would funnel into this trench when we had those monsoon rains. More red rock going over the mountains in the front yard. There you can see, just going to cover that dirt with rock so it doesn't blow away. Here's those back, a couple more of the back little mounds that we built, and the trench we're starting to fill in with rock. So the whole trench had to be trenched all the way, obviously, out to the front and filled with rock so it would drain properly. So here we are, sort of plugging along on that. It's kind of a long row, but yeah, a lot of rock in our front yard and our backyard together. Putting in the red dirt paths consisted of spreading this dirt called minus, little gravelly dirt, and then tamping it down with this 12 by 12 tamper to pack it into those little trails. You can see things are really coming together now. We've got the wooden bridges that Park made across the river, starting to really look like some landscaping is in place. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. This is where we started. I'll take you through this real quickly. So you can see the retaining wall is lower. We pushed that back. We put a big wall up in the back to block the neighbors, got rid of all the shrubs there, and then we had this big wide backyard because we did push that retaining wall back, which gave us more backyard space. We put the casita at the end here. That's where the casita is going to go. And then, of course, there's Park's driveway. And now we have started the cactus obsession. Once I put in the cactus and started learning about them, I just got totally crazy. So this is what the front yard looks like right now. These three saguaros, I call them the three amigos. They were born in 1995. They're 4 feet tall. Saguaros grow very, very slowly, but I love them. I'm totally excited to have them in the yard. There are all kinds of other little cacti that I've added. You can see the cactus that we planted initially have grown quite a bit since we first started. You know, this was almost a year ago that we put these in the ground. I'll talk about all the different cactus and how they grow and why I love them and all the other obsessive things as I go through the Cactus Chronicles. So if you like cactus or you want to learn more about them or you just like to watch somebody that's totally nutty about something, you'll enjoy the Cactus Chronicles, I hope. But you see little palm trees there and the wandering Jew and then all the other cactus. I've got a new garden going in right here, a new rockery garden. I just started putting that in. And then back down the mountainside here, and we're going to go over the bridge. You can see the higher retaining wall and then the rock and then the big new wall that we put up in the back. Part of that was a pool requirement. We had to have a 5-foot wall around the yard because of having the pool. My little palm tree island and then the little foothills. Those kind of have my mini cactus and some euphorbia, which is another thing that in the cactus group that I'm totally crazy about as well. So there and there. We planted red yucca and rosemary up on the hill, and hopefully those will grow. Well, they have grown quite a bit already, but really kind of fill in and add some green to that hill there. My first rockery is on the left, well, my little cacti, and then the bird cage gardens, really kind of one of my favorite interest points in the yard. And again, I'll talk more about those specifically as I go through the Chronicles. I just want to give you an overview of the whole yard, and you can start to get a feel for my obsession. Here's the Zen garden in front of the casita, and that leads us right over to Park's favorite part of the house, which is the long extended driveway down the side of the house. Thanks so much for tuning into the first episode, The Obsession Begins, of the Cactus Chronicles. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll come back and watch more. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.